And then there's a fine line between the people who have it all going on and can do all these things without having to play the survival game. And you would think, boy, if I could only be one of them. Everything's paid for, you know, or crossovers, like I was talking with you earlier. These are corporate people that are kind of getting around middle age, and they're making $80,000 in the QB, driving their Beamer, doing their thing, and they go, I want to be creative, and they decide, well, I'll just go be an actor. And they think that that's just going to cross over, and they're going to be able to use all those business skills in their artistic profession, and it's going to work for them. And the thing is, for those people, they tend to not have that depth many of the times that the struggle brings about. And I use the story about when a caterpillar turns into a butterfly. There's this process when its wings are developed inside the cocoon. And when you hold the cocoon up to certain illumination, you can see the butterfly inside, and it's trying to get out. And it's beating its wings against the cocoon. It's beating its wings trying to get out of the cocoon. And if you've ever seen it, maybe back in elementary school or whatnot, when the cocoon's bouncing around because the butterfly's in there trying to get out. And by nature, you might want to go in and kind of cut it open and help the butterfly to get out, but you'll actually be harming the butterfly, because part of the development and the strengthening of the wings is the beating against the cocoon. And as it beats against the cocoon, it builds its wing muscles and builds its wing muscles, so that when it finally is strong enough to break out, then it can also break out and fly. So if you open it too soon, it won't be able to fly and it won't last. And you'll actually hinder the lifespan of the butterfly by assisting it during the struggle period. So there's that fine line between the struggle of the artist, that's part of the development, the being told no, that's part of the strengthening, that's necessary. That inner creative genius, that artistic genius inside, requires more protein than you, more carbohydrates than you, requires more vitamins, more minerals, more air, more oxygen, more exercise than you do. So if you feel you are not getting enough of what it is that I just mentioned, then guess who else isn't getting enough of what I just mentioned? But yet, your dreams are that of a champion. You want to make $60,000 a week on a series. You want to take home $100,000 for working a couple of months on a movie. You want that campaign to make $1 million doing some kind of crazy commercial ad. You want all that stuff. Are you positioned for it? See? You know, I'd like to have a couple of homes around the world, but just wanting them isn't going to manifest them. If I want them that bad, there are things that I need to do in order to make that happen. You've got to tack a plan. You've got to go about doing it. The creative genius within you can be so starved and malnourished, and then you want them to come out and operate like a champion. Okay, we're going to turn that around. We're going to give that champion everything that that champion needs, because creativity begets itself. And if you've heard the tape, you're going to hear these words, because it's true. The more creative you are, the more creative you become. If you notice somebody doing something like really sensational, and you go, wow, you know, that distance, it's not about that distance to go from like where you are to where you think it is they are to get done what they're getting done. It's about from here getting to here. And then that opens up all new doors that weren't open to you here. You can't see them. And those doors aren't necessarily here either. They're there for this. And then you get in and you open up more new doors that aspire you to go here. Then you open up more new doors that show you things that bring you over here, that open up more new avenues, and so on and so on and so on. And it's a matter of getting caught up in that continuous flow of doors opening up for you, avenues opening up for you, so that your life isn't suffocated and coagulated and all trapped up, and then boom, you got to come out and deliver something. The easiest actor to employ is a working actor. You either have to pay to work or you get paid to work, but you got to keep working. So when you got to struggle to do 2 jobs because you want to pay for your acting classes, and you got to go out and do something else or sacrifice because you want to get new headshots, or you really want it, and you're doing all this and thinking, oh, well, why can't it just be? No, that's all part of developing the creative genius that's within you. That's all part of this. It's the pains, and it's handling the griping, and it's the traveling and having to do the coast to coast thing when that situation presents itself, or if you're on 2 shows at one time and you're having to go from one thing to another. Hey, you know, it's not just because you're not working as an actor and being paid for it doesn't mean when you start getting paid for it, it gets any easier. Because what will happen with comfort and familiarity, it starts to develop a little bit of a habit and a routine, and that habit and routines, they start to carve grooves in you. Actual real grooves. I was at a party years ago, and I actually met a brain surgeon. And so I have these interview skills. I don't just socially say hi to people. When I find interesting people, I interview them. I want to find out about them. I want to understand about their world and their life and what they're all about. And so I start talking to this brain surgeon, and I'm asking him all these questions, and he was like, whoa, you know, who's this guy? And I had to explain to him that I'm just intrigued. I'm fascinated by this, and I teach and talk on these things. And I asked him about thoughts. And he said that thoughts actually produce grooves in your mind. A thought produces a groove in your mind. That's how you get so entrenched in your thinking. Hello, you with me? You see, because if you think the same thing long enough, it starts to actually carve in your brain grooves. Well, what happens with those patterns is those grooves eventually start to become trenches, and those trenches can become ruts. And now you're in that stinking thinking rut, and the only difference between a rut and a grave is how deep the hole is. Because it's already a dead thing. It's just a continuous dead groove that you're in. And trying to get up out of that, well, hey, I don't know, visit some of your friends or family members that aren't artists, that aren't in the artist community, and look at their lives. As you get older and you watch and you start seeing the same thing over and over, it's the same routine over and over, and I am not condemning it. There are some people that really enjoy that. But if you're going to go against the people in this town, you're going to find that that's not necessarily going to work to your greatest advantage. You got to be up out of those grooves and levitating. You got to be moving in that zone of creative operation where you can improvise, you can think, you can feel, you're free. You are able to develop professional intimacy. You can get really close and intense with someone you don't really know because you've got to sell that relationship. You're trained. You're in it. You're moving. Everything's lubed up. It's happening. You're like a race car ready for the green light. Bam! It's all about waiting for that moment to bam, and then you hit it and you win that race. We're actors. We have to create. We create out of nothing. Our canvas is life. And we are the brush. We're the instrument. And you can't just take a brush out of a package and just start. You gotta bend it and feel it. You gotta get some life into it. You gotta get the energy rolling into it, right? Get the chi going on, get the karma happening, get the zen zone up, and you gotta get your thing going on, and then you go in and start working with it. If you're a real singer, you've got to warm up the voice. If you're a real athlete, you're going to be on the sidelines. You're going to be behind the fences. You're going to be stretching. You're going to be warming up. So do you think it's any different for us? Crazy. When is that audition going to come in? Anytime. That's the great thing about Hollywood. Every one of us, at any point in time, your life can change. You could be working with Al Pacino like that. You know that you're stretching yourself, and you know that you're going to the next place. Why? Because you're out of your comfort zone. And it's almost like, I don't know now. And you know you're there because that first thing's going to hit you where you go, okay, I don't know now. Now when you hit that I don't know now, you'll cower. And you want to come back to the familiar. Okay? But it's that I don't know now. That's the pathway to the amazing. Most people get scared out of it. But if you're brave enough to go, it's okay, I don't need to know. I want to go down this path. I want to seek. I want to discover. I want to explore. Then you start finding just amazing, fantastic things.